Welcome back to Cinema Recaps. Today I'm going to explain science fiction fantasy film titled Gods of Egypt. Spoilers ahead. Long ago, in the Egyptian lands, gods coexisted with men in a paradise that they created. The kingdom was divided between two brothers, Osiris, who ruled over the fertile Nile areas, and Isis, who ruled over the barren lands of Egypt. Set, who was sent out of the suites because to hatred and jealously. When it came time for Osiris to crown his own son Horus as the new king, the brothers' feud became a source of contention. Along with Egypt's fate, connections are put to the test. Horus admires himself in the mirror while donning his armor on the day of the coronation, while his girlfriend Hathor mocks him for being so unprepared. The deity adores the goddess and has bestowed upon her the 42-star bracelet, rescues her from the monsters who are relentlessly pursuing her. They attend the ceremony at which all of the gods have assembled and the humans have all come together to celebrate. As they hand up their gifts, Osiris assures the worshippers that they are all equal in the afterlife, regardless of the value of their sacrifices. He summons Horus, the god of the air, with the intention of crowning him as the next pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt. When the king's brother emerges from the crowds, their ceremony is quickly disrupted. He challenges Osiris to a throne fight in front of him, stabbing his brother. Of all individuals, Set proclaims himself the new ruler and states that he will change the afterlife law, which will now require a large offering. Horus takes up the sword as soon as he sees his father die in his arms and attacks his foes. Uncle, seeking retribution against the murderer. On the other side, the deity's emotions cause him to lose the fight quickly, as he is knocked out to the floor. Horus turns into his actual form in a fit of wrath, causing Set to do the same, and the two fling themselves at each other as they fight in the air. Their ferocious combat causes surrounding buildings to collapse, forcing everyone to flee their very existence. The gods continue to battle each other until they crash back into the structures. Set commands the army to utilize the shields to reflect light beams upon Horus, blinding him. He was caught up in the process. He takes advantage of the situation and continues to strike his nephew, delivering many hits and sending Horus flying backwards. Set approaches his nephew, who is lying on the ground defeated, and affirms that Horus exists, hardly deserving of the title of king. He grabs the god's eyeballs and begins ripping them out, causing the god to wail. As everyone looks helpless, he is in anguish. Set is about to slay his nephew when Hathor appears and offers to pleasure him in exchange, for the sake of her lover's life. The people are enslaved after Set becomes Egypt's new king, and all of the gods who oppose him are murdered one by one. Bek, a young man who refuses to be enslaved, managed to get away from his captor's masters. He travels around the city till he encounters his sweetheart Zaya in front of a palace. He has been enslaved by Set's chief architect. Bek surprises the woman's master and prepares to abduct her, but Zaya cautions him that it won't help because the entire country is in distress. Because she believes her lover is more powerful than Set, she wants her lover to divert Horus' sight away from Set. Only God has the ability to free the Egyptians. Bek is taken to the architect's library, where Zaya finds a drawing of Set's pyramid. He keeps the origins of his abilities a secret. The woman also shows her partner the vault plans, which show where the architect placed various valuables in the vault. Traps to keep a thief from stealing the goods within. At night, Bek pursues the treasure carts from the rooftop, jumping into the gold piled within. The large sums of money are stashed in a tunnel, which Bek eventually discovers. Arrives in a room beneath the surface of the earth, right in front of Horus's eyes. The traps used to protect the jewels are extremely dangerous, as any misstep may spell tragedy. Cause the person to die in a horrible way. When he arrives at the final bridge, it is rapidly collapsing, forcing the man to flee hurriedly and leap for the miraculous eye, grabbing it at the very last moment. Bek rushes back to his girlfriend with the happy news, but he notices something is wrong as she apologizes. When Zaya's master learns about their plan to loot his god, he sends men to encircle Bek, so that the thief might be apprehended. Bek, on the other hand, can react quickly and uses his eye to blind his opponents, giving him the upper hand. He was given the option of escaping with the girl. He mounts his horses and escapes the castle, all the while displaying the treasure to his sweetheart that he had snatched. Their jubilation is short-lived when an arrow pierces Zaya's chest, killing her right in front of the man. Bek has no choice but to run to a temple dedicated to Horus and enter. Pleading with the deity for help in rescuing his girlfriend in the dismal mansion, Horus notices the eye and demands that Bek return it immediately, but the man refuses till the deity is able to resuscitate Zaya. Horus has no choice but to chant over the girl's body, triggering the appearance of Anubis, who transports the woman's soul to the underworld. Horus has essentially done the exact opposite of saving Bek, infuriated him. The deity, on the other side, kidnaps Zaya and forces her to return the eye. Horus vows to kill the man once he regains his sight for his earlier defiance. He comes to a halt, however, as he realizes the mortal has located the entrance to Set's pyramid. Horus decides to enlist the man's help, promising to restore the girl if he reclaims Egypt's throne. At the same time, Set realizes that his vault has been broken into and accuses the burglars. As a result of his incompetence as an architect, the divinity sends his right-hand man to catch the guilty mortal immediately away because of the thievery. Meanwhile, Bek has reached on top of a mountain with Horus, where he is hunting for his grandfather. Ra, the solar deity, has regained his ability to fly for the time being. Horus transforms once more and flies away from Earth, eventually landing in a large spaceship on top of the planet. They see Ra, the solar deity, battle Apophis, a massive demon who seeks to control the planet, to consume all of one's creations. The elder deity attacks the gigantic beast with a flurry of strikes, forcing it to change its ways. A long way from the planet's surface, Ra returns to his grandson and informs him that he knows why Horus has arrived, but refuses to tell him to be personally invested in their quarrels. He allows Horus to remove the magical water from the spaceship that can quench Set's strength from within the pyramid because all life is equal in his eyes because they are all his creations. The two return to Earth and crash land, but they are attacked before they can recover. Set's minions attack them quickly on the waterfall. Horus defeats them with ease, even without his full might, and begins slaughtering them. He took them out one by one with his spear. However, one of the scouts escaped the attack and returned to his master. He informs the god of their adversary's whereabouts and Horus promised to the mortal to resuscitate the woman. Despite the fact that he knows it is impossible, this appears to amuse the god. Set dispatches his army's lieutenants to track down his nephew and gives them orders to assassinate both the mortal and the immortal. Hathor, on the other hand, is covertly keeping an eye on her lover and discovers that Horus has left his father's temple. Set, on the other hand, observes her from behind and finds her betrayal. He rushes in to kill her for betraying him, but Hathor escapes by removing her bracelet and fleeing. A slew of demons have taken possession of her. After putting on the bracelet, she exits the danger zone and resumes her search for Horus, knowing that he is her only ally left. In the meantime, Bek notices a sandstorm approaching from behind, revealing Set's hunters atop their gigantic serpents. Horus lacks the necessary might to combat the two, so they flee immediately, the perpetrators of their assailants. While the two urgently try to run, the giant snakes pursue them, murdering everything in their path. They had no choice but to run for their life. The aliens hone in on the protagonists and hurl fire at them, causing them to run. They were told to crawl into the trenches and hide behind the statue. Horus fights the black serpent with his spear, capturing it for a brief while by piercing its jaw, but the hunter assaults him viciously, forcing him to retreat into the channels. Because they can't stay hidden indefinitely, the deity directs Bek to coax one of the snakes away. Meanwhile, he attacks from behind. The hunter's attention is drawn to the guy as he sprints towards the temple, causing the white dog to retreat. Snake will chase after you, spitting fire. Horus catches up to the beast and leaps atop its back, binding the hunter to it and ambushing her. Horus just escapes death when the snake slams against the cliff and falls to his death. Just in time, the two escape the collapsing building, only to learn that Hathor is still alive. Has figured out where they are. The woman approaches the large serpent without fear as the hunter orders it to be burned. Surprisingly, when the goddess hypnotizes the monster, it refuses to obey. When Hathor commands the monster to burn himself, the monster begins spitting fire on his body, killing his master. Horus informs Hathor that he plans to break through Set's pyramid and quench Set's might. The scorching heat of the desert due to the wicked deity's deployment of a sphinx, the goddess notifies him that the scheme would fail. They had to go inside the structure to fight the attackers. Horus understands that the only way to survive is to solve the creature's riddle, which only Thoth, the god of wisdom, is capable of doing. They make their way through the bush until they reach the base of a large tree, where they take shelter. They see a group of deity clones collaborating. Horus asks the god of wisdom to help them defeat the sphinx, but the deity declines, saying that solving a puzzle is considerably more essential than his work. Bek, on the other hand, begins to play on the god's arrogance by implying that he is too afraid of making a mistake. Horus declines the challenge, however the deity accepts it rather than risk losing his ego. Bek is praised for his quick wit. The gang journeys through the desert until they arrive at a pyramid with all of the stones stacked within. Things are changing at the same time. Bek, thankfully, remembers the blueprints from the library and chooses the correct one. Penetrating the mystical edifice, opening. He races to the center, where he may stop the chaos by turning the wheel, as the sands continue to move beneath his feet. They travel deeper into the structure and come upon a tunnel where they are confronted by a massive creature, originating in the earth. By asking a challenging riddle that only the god of knowledge can solve, the creature puts the party to the test. Immediately, His response, however, was incorrect, causing the Sphinx to become agitated. Because Horus was hostile, he was flung against the walls. The deity tries to react several times as the creature becomes increasingly violent. He eventually receives the correct response, and the beast flees. They approach the Earth's core well, planning to utilize the magical water to temper Set's strength, but they are quickly imprisoned down by a trap that splits the squad. Set appears from behind and snatches the God of Wisdom's brain while everyone is watching. Hopelessly, Beck tries to pour the water into the well, but the god intervenes and tells him that he cannot. Horus lied to him about Zaya's return since no one has the authority to do it. Comparable to that, when Beck realizes he's been misled, the god takes his water and pours it on the ground. Set laughs at their futile efforts and exits the building, causing it to collapse. In the direction of them, Horus, thankfully, manages to release himself at the last possible moment and saves everyone. Debris is descending. They all survived, but the mortal is enraged with Horus for duping him. He's been making promises he can't keep. When Hathor realizes this, she apologizes by taking off her bracelet and offers it to Beck so that he might give Zaya a gift for passing through the afterlife gates. Horus tries to stop his beloved, but she kisses him goodbye as the gods carry her away. Demons! Horus weeps on the ground after witnessing Hathor's sacrifice, but finally presents her with the bracelet to Beck, in order for him to preserve his girlfriend's soul. Beck comes just in time to reunite with his girlfriend before Zaya is judged at the final gates, saving her from eternal destruction. Set takes all of the gods' abilities at the same time and combines them into one. He was given wings and became almost impenetrable. The deity pays a visit to his grandfather and informs him of his plan. Set is obsessed with immortality, and the only way to achieve it is to destroy the afterlife. The realm was devoured by Apophis, and the realm devoured itself. Ra tries to stop his son by firing a catastrophic blast with the spear, but Set manages to survive after combining the god skills. The deity stabs the old man in the stomach and seizes the spear, unleashing a devastating attack on Ra. As a result of his own attack, he was launched into space. Set returns to the city and begins coaxing the enormous beast onto the Earth's surface, where it will devour it. Everything seemed to be on the correct track. Meanwhile, Beck notices that the afterlife's gate is being tampered with, and Anubis utilizes his abilities to defend the world. Zaya advises her beloved to return to Horus, as he is the only one capable of defeating him. Set the world's order and restore it. The young man reappears beside the divinity, and the two make plans to journey to Set before the year's conclusion. Everything has become a shambles. Thankfully, a flying chariot appears in front of them, prepared by the gods who have defied the evil deity, and they are able to fly quickly towards their antagonist. Set emerges at the same time, wielding the Ra spear and enticing Apophis towards him. The Niles let the monster destroy everything in its path. Horus descends atop the pyramid and attacks his uncle, but Set is ready to defend himself. The two engage in a violent struggle, exchanging blows, but Set emerges victorious. Horus is eventually brought to his knees. Set is about to kill his nephew when Beck appears from behind and uses a rope to restrain him. Enraged, the deity morphs and charges at the man, knocking him into the wall. As he is hurled to the top, Beck, on the other hand, manages to grab Horus' attention. In an attempt to restore his authority, the guy throws the item towards Horus, but he collapses. At the same time, the deity watches them both falling from great heights and chooses to save his companion, building toward the ground. Horus, to his surprise, morphs at the last possible moment and catches the man before he dies. Beck is surprised that the god has regained his power without his eye, but Horus has a different perspective. Not because of the missing eye, but because his heart was never in the proper place, the ideal setting. Horus transforms into a bird and soars towards Set, setting off a deadly sky battle between the gods. Set tries to assault Horus with the spear, but he is unable to hit his nephew. The two charge headlong towards the skyscraper, inflicting damage on it. Horus sneaks up behind the opponent, slamming him against the walls and rips his wings off. He is forced to plummet to the ground as the structure crumbles from above. When the dust settles, Set is gravely hurt by the fall, and Horus approaches him from behind. With the Ra spear, he kills him. The deity travels to his grandfather, who is floating in space, and gives him a glass of water to revive him. The spear was presented to him. The old man charges up to the monster and fires a constant stream of bullets into its body, forcing Apophis to abandon the planet and turn away from his creations. When Horus returns to the city, he discovers that one of his followers has discovered his second eye. Enable him to rediscover his genuine self. When he gets close to Beck, he discovers that the man has already died as a result of the previous wounds. Horus leads him to Zaya, combining their bodies and finally bringing them together. Ra, on the other hand, appears at the very last moment to laud his grandson and fulfills the deity's wish by resurrecting the lovers. Beck and his lover Zaya awaken together, and the two have a joyous kiss. Horus is eventually crowned Egypt's new king and establishes a new government. when it comes to the afterlife. Informing the people that they will be judged on their character rather than the things they bring. The outstanding deeds they carried out during their lifetime. Horus transforms and flies away when Beck offers him the bracelet from Hathor after the coronation, hoping to save his sweetheart and finally be united with her. Movie ends in that scene. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like, it really helps the channel. Thank you for watching.